needs a professional. The Witcher Wild Hunt.
But I just figured while I had you here, if you had a minute, I was going to ask you how far you got. So how far have you got in The Witcher?
I'm at the Baron, where he was wanting me to find his wife and his child.
Mm-hmm.
And
Have you been doing just the main quest, or have you been doing the side quest also?
I'm just on the main quest right now. That's pretty much before you run into the Wild Hunt. You go with oh god, got my names mixed up. Not Triss. What's the other one's name?
Yennefer.
Yennefer, that's
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, you've
that's
already
pretty
met up
much
with her.
Yeah.
Well, how far did you get?
Yes. No. I had. Yeah, you're right. No, I have. I've done ran into Yennefer, and yeah, I'm at the Baron.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, you meet her. She meets you at the that inn,
yeah.
White Orchard. That first, basically, like kind of like a tutorial area, sort of. It's not really a tutorial area, but it's just it's supposed to be easier. You know, it's the opening area or whatever.
So yeah, I am. Back to what we were saying. Yeah, I'm not very far. And the first time I did play, I only got to where when you saw that, you figure out been so long ago.
Did you get to the area you're in now, or did you?
No, I was past it. I just got out of the caves with Triss.
Okay. Okay, you got a good little ways then. Well, let me ask you this, Dobbs. From, you know, you already know, I've told you, I've beat that game like 3 times. Have you been, and it concerns me, because, like you're saying, you've been doing the, mainly the main mission, you know. Have you tried any of the side mission stuff?
I've done some side quests here and there. They're not bad. They actually, I've heard people say that, there's a lot more. There's a lot like really good stories, more better activities.
Yeah.
Than they would say almost into the storyline. Which storyline is good. I'm not gonna knock the storyline.
Oh, I love the story of it. But I guess what I'm getting at is I would encourage you.
Exactly.
Look, take your time with the game. Trust me, I know. I beat it 3 times. There's no. I don't even want to think about how many hours I put in that game, because I put well over 50 every playthrough. But it is worth it. Just take your time. If you don't have anything else you're playing right now, just take your time. Ride the horse to objective. Explore the world, because just trust me on this, it's worth it. There's not a lot of boring parts in that game. You know how, like, this kind of goes back to the Sword Art we were just playing. When I was playing Sword Art the entire time, I was thinking, okay, I just need to get, like, that's one of them games, if I start playing, and even that Generation Zero that me and Justin played for a while, I always felt like I was just trying to get to the next objective. Like, okay, I'm done with this, now we got to do this, right? That was the only thing I was thinking, so I'm just, those kind of you know what I'm talking about, those kind of games where you're just playing objective to objective, you're just trying to get through it, because you want to get to the end. The Witcher's not one of those games. At least for me personally, it wasn't. It was a game for me that I literally enjoyed taking my time. It's kind of like Skyrim in that sense. Like,
I'll say this, like I was playing it before I came in, and I stopped playing it just because that's not a game I never would understand back in the day when you would hop out of the party. That is not a game you really want to be in a party play. No. You really just want to.
No, it's not. It's because, well, the thing is, it's that interesting. It's the dialogue's that good, even the side quests. I mean, yeah, like you're right. I remember us being in parties and there'd be just so many people talking, and I wasn't even talking. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna leave the party because I'm trying to focus. Because even if I was in the party half the time, to be honest with you, I would have my gameplay volume turned all the way up. I wouldn't be able to hear anybody because I was just that zoned in on it, And like I said, it's not. I'm sure the game's not for everybody. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that don't like it, but for me personally, it was just one of those games, man. Once you get in it, and you understand the rhythm of the game, you understand what you're doing, and all that good stuff, it just sucks you in, and it really, really holds your attention.
Yeah, it is like you said though. It seems like we're getting a lot of games that just have no storyline, and you're talking about a game right there that has an award-winning storyline.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's just refreshing to be able to. Even now, dude, honestly, the game came out like 5 years ago, I think. If this game dropped today, it would still be a top hit. A 5-year-old game,
yeah.
easily. Like graphically, it looks fine. It's not. It's fine. Like it looks great actually, graphically, still to this day. But they spent. I mean, hell, they spent 5 years making the game. Same way for God of War. They spent 5 years making God of War. You know, if you want to make a great game, it takes time. And a lot of companies are just kind of pumping games out right now. They're not taking their time. They're just looking at the short term, trying to make a buck. So it's always nice when something like The Witcher or God of War, 4 comes out, or Red Dead 2, stuff like that.
Yeah, the Red Dead 2. Sorry, I'm back. I don't know how far y'all went into that.
Oh, we just talked about the show for a minute.
That's yeah, CD Projekt Red. I give it. They got something going on.
Yep, and then you need to. If I was you, I would stay on The Witcher. I'd take my time with it, but I would play it, enjoy it, and because by the time you finish that game, it won't be. We got 100 days until Cyberpunk 2077 comes out.
That's
and
gonna be
that game has been in development longer than The Witcher 3 was in development, so it should be amazing.
Right.
Yeah, as long as they don't just completely drop the ball somehow, which they shouldn't. They haven't yet. So.
They should. I'm not trying to be like that. He's like, because no, there's a lot of people that want to play on the PlayStation. There's a lot of people that want to play Xbox. He's like,
right. I'm
not trying to do that. He's like, I'm not trying to be like that, but I do want it to where, every game can be.
Well, you need competition too. Competition's healthy.
Exactly.
It's good for gamers. Like as much people as people want to hate on this system or that system or which one's better or PC is better than all and this and that. Blah 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 blah. Who cares? Like the point is, if you have competition, then the idea and the way it's supposed to work is the more competition you have, the more that competition that are trying to sell you a product have to work to put out a great product to win you over. And no matter what side, what system or anything you're on, you're only going to benefit from that.
Exactly.
Imagine if every, okay, let's put it like that. Imagine if every video game console and video game ever made was owned by EA.
Right.
What kind of games do you think we'd get? You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, so what are you thinking? I know you played The Witcher before, which that was what, a while back, huh?
Yeah.
It's over a year ago, probably.
Yeah, that's a game. That game. I'm not gonna lie to you, and like you say, that game. That takes up a lot of time.
Yes, it does.
It's not like you say. It's not a run-through game. That's not a.
Yeah, that's not.
That's a sit down and play.
Mm-hmm.
You got 3 or 4 hours. Hop on there.
Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is, man? Like I was thinking about it one day, because the last time I played through it was a couple months ago. It was like around before October, before I built my PC that I built. And I started that summer, and it took me months to finish it, because I could only play, 2 or 3 hours a night at most, right? Because of work and everything.
Right, no doubt, yeah.
And I used to, in other games I was playing, I forgot, I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but like multiplayer games and stuff, I'd be like, oh man, I've spent 2 hours doing this, I've only got this far trying to do this, and blah, blah. The Witcher was one of those, I never thought of it like that. Like, I never thought of it like, oh, I gotta hurry. I gotta try to run through this because this game lasts 60 hours. It's a 60-hour plus game, and I gotta hurry up and run through it so I can beat it within a month. Like, that was one of those games for me. Like, I didn't mind it taking months to beat.
Right. Man, I had.
And there's not many games that come out like that.
No, there's not. Really not.
So compared, like, all right, the first time you played it, are you enjoying it more now than you did the first time you played it, or is it about the same, or are you doing?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't gone any further. Like, it'd be like starting the show over twice.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just because you hadn't finished or gotten to a spot you needed to get to. So I've already played these. So, but I mean, it's still enjoyable. It's still, I mean.
Yeah.
If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have gone back to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For someone to come back, try to play it the third time and that long,
Mm-hmm.
That's.
And it's one of those games too. The more you play it, you'll start to realize that it grows on you.
Oh yeah.
Like, the more you play, the more you'll want to play. Like, the more you'll start getting interested in the side stuff, and you'll start getting more interested in the characters and everything. And it's just it's just so well done, dude. And your decisions actually matter. So I'm just telling you, there's like 4 main endings, I think. Yeah, there's 4 main endings, and depending on certain choices you make, I don't want to tell you to like cheat, but if you want a certain ending, you might want to look up what you got to do at certain points in the storyline to get that certain ending. Because there's a bad ending, and there's 3 other endings. And I'm not going to lie, when you're first playing through it, you're not going to realize that some of the choices you make, you might be like, oh, well, this is what I should say. And because my first time I played it, I got the bad ending. And I thought that I was making the right decisions, but apparently I wasn't, so.
You are, yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of those weird things, like with the dialogue. Sometimes it can be what you think may be the positive thing to do actually isn't.
Right.
You know what's... Go ahead.
So wait, can I ask if you do choose the wrong things, do you basically have to restart the game over and do a bunch of different selections?
No, if you don't have a
No,
save...
it's just a different outcome. That's
Yeah.
all. I mean, it's just a...
I'm saying though, is that something though you build up throughout the series? Like, I mean,
There's
throughout a lot
certain...
of
No,
choices?
there's like... I think there's 6 main... There's 6 main moments in the game, right? Pinnacle moments where... As far as the main story is concerned, now there are some side missions. Depending on what you pick on certain side missions too, things will be different. On that, within that side mission, right? Like, it doesn't affect the main campaign, which also is just amazing about the game, right? I mean, you never know when a side mission, something you may decide, okay, I'll let this guy go, I'm not going to kill him, and then all of a sudden, 10 hours down the road, he's attacking you, or something, he's involved again. But if you kill him, he's not involved. So stuff like that can change throughout, and that's just one other way that the game changes on its own organically, depending on the choices you make. And I can tell you right now, Dobbs, with that Baron, there's a couple outcomes with his story arc too.
There he is.
There's multiple
I played it
outcomes.
different all 3 times.
But but back to
yeah.
I was going Justin's what he was asking. There's 6 main, like 6 or 7, I can't remember. I'd have to look it up again. But there's certain points that, depending on what you choose, will affect the very end of the main campaign. So there's certain things.
Yeah. I gotcha.
It's amazing. Justin, I really believe that if you just started playing it, and it's one of those games, and honestly, like, you sit there through 3 hours of reading dialogue, I promise you, if you get 3 hours into The Witcher, and you don't like it, just put the controller down. Because you're probably not going to like it. I mean, Dobbs, would you agree with that? Like, if you... Dude, I was hooked the first hour. An hour in, I was hooked. Like, I wanted to know what... You know what I'm saying? Like, I was hooked after an hour.
Right. be honest, it's one of the ones that actually got me into more of open world games.
Yeah.
But not, I mean, I hadn't played that far into it, but nonetheless.
You know, it's actually one of the only single player games. You know, everybody always says everything's better with co-op. The Witcher 3 may be the one game for me personally that it wouldn't be better co-op. Like even Skyrim, like I would love to play Skyrim co-op. That'd be awesome to me. To be able to play with a friend on Skyrim, like games like that. Even Mass Effect, the old Mass Effect games, it'd be badass to run around with a buddy on Mass Effect. But The Witcher 3, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Maybe because it really, Dobbs. I don't know if you realize this, but you're still. It's very story driven. There is a lot. There's a lot of dialogue and a lot of cutscenes. It's all voice acted. The voice actors do a great job. It's all interesting, and that's the only thing. That's the only reason why it works. Because when you think about it, even when you go doing side stuff, like you have to, if you want to go hunt a monster, you got to go talk to somebody. Then you got to negotiate for how much they're going to pay you. So there's dialogue there. You got to go kill the monster, and sometimes killing the monster takes you 5 minutes after you find them. Don't take long, depending on your level and what level they're on. And then all of a sudden, guess what? You're back in the town talking to that guy again. More dialogue. There is a shitload of dialogue in that game, more than you really realize until after until you really think about it. But to me, that's what makes it so exceptional about it, is the fact that there is that much dialogue, and I'm okay with it. Like, I usually wouldn't like that much dialogue. Like, I'm the type, I like to play the game, run around killing stuff or whatever I'm doing. But The Witcher is just the pacing is so well done. How they pace out the narration, the story, the dialogue, along with the action and the gameplay and all that stuff. Is there anything that you don't like about it, Dobbs? Anything like if you could change something, or if you could...
If I could change something, like far as, I hadn't gotten this far into, that, but I can tell you at the ending I was having a hard time with. But like I say, it's the first one I've ever really played. As far as open world style of that caliber. And I told you that before. I think I told you Justin's house was the it doesn't really hold your hand. I mean, it does. I mean, after a certain point,
it lets
pretty
you
much
go.
have to figure.
Yeah.
Lets you go. And sometimes I'm not really sure if I'm doing a side quest or I'm doing the main story.
Yeah, it's all in your menus. There's a way, once you figure out how to go into your quest log and everything, there should be a separation. Like, you should have main quest, side quest, and then you can actually, activate whichever one you want. So like me, I would only activate one quest at a time. Like, I wouldn't have multiples activated so that way on my compass I would have because if you activate multiple things, you'll have 5 different ways it's telling you to go. And then I would, like I said, since I did a lot of side quests, I would always try to do things level based. So if I had a mission that was level 15, a mission that was level 12, a mission that was level 20, and a mission that was level 10, and I was level, 13 or 14, I would always do my lowest level missions first, and I just worked my way up that way.
Right.
That's how I kind of broke down, and because it is a lot. I mean, you get a lot of missions quick. Like,
yeah, you do.
Get them fast. And it's worth doing them too. The great thing about the side missions and the monster hunts is the money, mainly. You'll get a lot of extra money to buy, to create and craft better gear, and buy new stuff and stuff like that, which is very, very helpful.
Right.
But really, but actually to finish the main story, you only have to be at like level 20. I think the level top out's 50, but you only have to be around like level 20 to actually complete the main story.
Yeah. I highly suggest playing Witcher. Now, I'll say this, and I've heard from a lot of other people, you don't have to play the first one or the second one. If you do, hats off to you. But you don't really have to. And I understand before CD Projekt Red picked this up. Well, what they really wasn't all that. They weren't as well made as the third one.
No. 1 and 2 isn't even close.
You know.
Which they were smaller back then too.
Yeah. It was but yeah, no doubt. I think it's on Game Pass right now, so there's no reason. If you have Game Pass, there's no reason for you not to. Try it out.
Total agreement. It's a $60 game just for the original game, and on top of that, I think on Game Pass don't they give you the extra DLC content too?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
they do.
You know how many more hours is in the DLC content? It's like another 40 hours of gameplay.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, you're looking at what is it?
It's a shitload.
Yeah, you're looking at 140 hours of gameplay, just story.
And one of the DLCs is you're still in the same areas, like the same map, but actually the second DLC is a whole new area. You know how like you got the first area, then you got Velen, then you got, well, you're gonna have another one. You got 2 more after that, but this is like a whole new area on that last DLC. So it's completely different, a new atmosphere, new everything. The game's just, I can't say enough good things about it, honestly. I really can't. It's one of my top 5 games of all time that I've played. Single player games is easily in the top 5. It just is. I mean, it's just hard to beat that game, from my personal opinion. There's not a lot of games I can think that, Mass Effect 1 and 2, 3 kind of pissed me off because of the end. Mass Effect, Star Wars KOTOR, The Witcher 3, Skyrim. Like those are, whenever I think of single player games, those are the ones I think of. It's just fantastic. I mean, if you can get it on Game Pass right now for nothing, basically, you need to get it.
Yeah. If you have Game Pass, there's no excuses why you shouldn't give it a shot.
Would you recommend it to someone who's never played an RPG game? Like someone who maybe has only ever played shooters? Do you think it's a game that they could, like you said, you ain't really played a lot of RPGs, but you're still, like, you liked it enough to come back to it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I would definitely recommend it if you have, especially if you have. See, I'm playing on an original Xbox. My Xbox One, I have to ship it in. My Xbox One X, I have to ship in. But you can definitely tell a difference in the graphics just from the 1 to the X, and the X actually gives it a lot better. It's almost like playing a different. I don't know if you could tell that, Nick, but I can.
yeah,
I can tell.
Yeah, graphically it's a little different.
Graphically, it's a lot better looking.
Have you ever seen videos of it on running on like a beast PC? It's incredible.
Yeah, I've seen it on a 2080 Ti. Yeah. Yeah, those man, wow, you're talking about 4K, 4K at like shit. High 90s.
That's ridiculous.
Frame rate.
That's
I mean, it's a game that asks a lot. Even a high-end PC, you're looking at 4K, still only 80 frames, but that's still 80 frames on that game. That was almost, I'm not saying it was, but that's almost like, well, can it run? Can it run Crysis? But that game, that one asked. That was a very demanding game, as far as graphics wise.
Well, that's like I was telling Justin. You have to remember, the game you're playing right now came out 5 years ago.
Right.
And it's still, if it came out today, it would still win Game of the Year probably. Yeah. I can't think of a game that would beat it, besides maybe Red Dead or God of War 2. But, I mean, just think about that. And then you think about that, what they put out this game 5 years ago, that's still by today's standards.
Yeah.
A 10 out of 10 on IGN or one of their, those shill sites. But I shouldn't say shill. But anyways, my point is that, like, just compare it to other shit they put out, man. Like, compare it to other game, okay. So what do you got? Red Dead 2, God of War 4. What else? Since The Witcher 3's came out, you really got nothing. Single player wise, as far as on that scale.
Single player wise on that scale, no.
I mean, there's been some good games come out.
Fallen Order, they say that's a bigger. That was
It's
know,
not
if
as
you're into
big
that.
as no, it's not as big as
It's not as big, but as far as whatever from what I've heard,
that's a good game.
A game
Yeah, that's
you
good.
need to give a run.
Well,
Man,
sounds
yeah.
like you're enjoying
If
it,
you're
man.
big into-
I'm glad you're enjoying
if
it
you're big
because
into, if you're big
I've
into
been
lore,
preaching it for
werewolves,
forever.
vampires, witches. If
That's
you're into
another
that
thing we
style,
didn't even talk about, dude. I
if
love
you're into
the
that,
world.
if you're into that style, yeah, that kind of fantasy world, if you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, and it's not even on that point. I mean, it just but if you're into any of that kind of stuff, Game of Thrones, disappointment, I know, but if you're into
I still
if
haven't
you're
watched the
into
last
that kind of
episode.
style, yeah,
I refuse to watch it.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I haven't watched it.
If you're into that kind of stuff, you'll definitely like The Witcher 3. It's definitely a sit down and play.
It's a very interesting world, dude.
Oh yeah.
The fantasy,
Get lost in it.
the ghouls, the vampire, and just their take on everything is very interesting. It's
fighting
different.
style.
It's not nothing like we've seen before, really. Because it's actually the guy who wrote it is
its own
from
thing.
guy who wrote it from like Norway or somewhere. He's from another country. I can't
Yeah.
remember. But anyway, that's like their more traditional, like that's their traditional lore.
Yeah.
We have a different
Yeah, exactly.
way we or whatever. Every
Yeah.
culture kind of paints things differently, but it's really interesting, and I think that's why the TV show was so successful too. Is because, I mean, the books apparently are fantastic. I've never read them, but I heard they're fantastic. The games were, even 1 and 2, they said it had issues, but people still played it. Like they really enjoyed the story and everything. Third game was amazing, and The Witcher, the show, was doing fantastic. I
Yeah.
think that it could
Yeah.
be a little overwhelming if you're not a Witcher, if you have no idea what The Witcher is coming into that show. I can see where some people may not finish it. Could be a little overwhelming, especially where they did the timelines. And I don't know if y'all watched it, but
Yeah.
it can be kind of
finished
jumpy.
it,
It can be kind of jumpy, But
it can.
that being said,
Yeah,
I feel like
please.
all in all, they did a really great job of capturing the soul of it. You know what I mean? What it is.
Right.
So I cannot wait for season 2. Of course, that'll be 2021.
Yeah.
But
I hope I hope they do well with this. With I'm a big cyberpunk fan as much as I say I am in lore for the into this into that style of war, which is wolves and werewolves
Well,
and
look.
vampires and stuff like that. But I am a big into the cyberpunk.
yeah, like Blade Runner
That's gonna be
kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be great.
This is gonna be right up my alley.
Well, look, I'll go ahead and tell you right
Space,
now.
all that.
Whenever you're playing that game, there's a part where Siri starts talking about,
Oh yes.
what she can
I
do.
know what you're talking about.
and she can jump worlds. Pay attention to that part.
Oh yeah, when she said that she came from a world
Yeah,
where carriages flew.
and people threw or died, shot things out of their hands or whatever
Yes.
to kill
Yeah.
other people. Yeah, yeah. It's a hint towards what they had just started working
Yeah.
on. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So,
Before you end it, I do want to say this, and hopefully you'll do a podcast on this. Hey.
yeah, I'm
everybody
gonna
give
post
a like.
it for sure. I'll probably do 2. I'll probably do one with me and Justin talking about sword art, and then I'll do another one about
Just totally
sort of
see
Witcher.
if they'll leave a comment if they want to see anything about Hellblade. They're in the Norse mythology.
I still haven't
would
played
be
that,
one
man.
that you need to play it.
I know I
and
do.
then
I
we
still
need
haven't
to
played
talk
it.
about it because that is a good game. They got the new one coming up that looks
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And it really is. It's definitely. If you're a hack and slash, which I didn't even cover that. I'm a big hack and slash. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
You would definitely like that. Hopefully you.
I need to try it. I know it got
Do
really
that.
good ratings. I just haven't gotten around to trying it out.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
what,
yeah,
what would
Ninja
be your?
Theory,
Oh yeah,
Ninja
Ninja
Theory,
Theory.
the
Yeah.
company. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're the one did it, and Xbox purchased them. So,
Hopefully they'll be putting out more stuff
yes.
for too long.
But yeah, I definitely, out of my book, what I played of Witcher, anybody should give it a shot. Definitely.
Yeah. Did you know? Actually, I was going to mention this, and I don't know if we're ever going to end this little part of the podcast, but that's okay. Did you know The Witcher right now, or actually last week, had more concurrent players than it did at release?
Right. So I read that on
Yeah.
IGN.
Had more people playing it
that
after the
was-
show came
I
out
thought that was
than the
crazy.
game has ever had at one time.
Yeah.
Isn't that
They had
insane?
like, I can't remember how many people. They had a lot of people streaming on Twitch.
Oh yeah.
Mixer. Like
Yeah.
a lot.
I guess I just hit it at the wrong time. I
Right.
literally played it like I had just beat my third playthrough like 2 months or 3 months before the show came out.
Witcher Try, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, 100% recommend that game for sure. We'll have to do another one after you, either after you beat the game or, get further into it. We'll have another talk about it or whatever. But I guess for now we'll end it there. And if you if you enjoyed the content and you want to hear more podcasts like this, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave your comments below. If there's anything you guys think that we can do to improve upon the podcast, or maybe some other games you'd like to hear us talk about, be sure to leave those in the comments. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and you guys have a great night.
Evil is evil. Lesser, greater, middling, makes no difference. The degree is arbitrary, the definition's blurred. If I'm to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not choose at all.
What are you doing?
Killing monsters.